right. Welcome to the FCO show for catchers only, a show for, by, and all about catchers. I'm your host, E. Will IV. Today, we just might answer all the questions that upcoming catchers and parents may have in regards to playing at the next level. Today's guest is entering his 17th season as head coach of Division One, Texas A&M University, Corpus Christi, as the head baseball coach. This man has played at the high school, collegiate, and professional level, so it's safe to say he knows a thing or two about a thing or two. All right. So introducing the one and only Coach Scott Malone. How you doing today, brother?
Eddie, what's up, man? It's great to be in here. Excited
Yes.
to talk to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, I was very excited, man. You got me quick on this one. I didn't expect to get a response from you so quick, and you were right there, ready to rock and roll. So I appreciate you joining the show. It's a pleasure having you.
Anybody that gives me a chance to hear myself talk, I'm always in.
There you go. Here you go. So, man, today's unique because what we're gonna do is we are gonna use your life as a parallel to basically walk through your experience and also educate up and coming players. I know you're not a catcher, but you're a coach, and a catcher is probably the next thing to a coach, on the field. And so a lot of these topics we're going to cover, they relate, to all ball players and all students in multiple positions. So this is going to be fun. We're going to take it back to the old days. So, be ready to share some stories for us, right?
Anything that makes me feel young again, I'm in for that. I'm in.
Yes, sir. So tell me a little bit about, when you were coming up as a ball player or just a kid, back in the days, getting going. How did sports work for you? Were you, multi-sport guy? Were you just playing around? I mean, did you watch a lot on TV? How did that look for you in your days?
Man, growing up, yeah, we played everything. Small town guy, grew up in East Texas, late elementary, moved out to Abilene to West Texas. And I mean, whatever was in season, it's football in the fall and basketball in the winter and baseball in the spring and summer. And it was just the big three, kind of rotated year round. And, that's what I did, all through middle school. We did all three year round, and it's just kind of what everybody did back then, and there wasn't really a choice. And, I shake my head now, and I know we'll probably talk about it a little, but, there wasn't fall baseball, and summer baseball for me was, I think my parents paid $30 so I could play on the American Legion team. And that was it,
Right.
That was it, man. There wasn't any getting in the car and driving to Dallas or driving to town ball. There wasn't any of that,
Yeah.
So.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, and that's getting back to the grassroots of things, and you definitely develop a love for the game at its rawest essence, and it's not getting, it's competitive, but it's still fun. Sometimes I feel like these days, it gets so competitive to where the kids like, look, I don't need this kind of pressure, man. I just came out to have a good time, and you got the weight of the world on my shoulders. If I don't get this hit, they might talk about you at the next PTA meeting. It's like, hey, that's not my thing.
I'm with you for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think the one thing I would say to that is I like when I think about late elementary, early middle school, on your way to turn it into a high school athlete, I will say, like, I do think we played to win, you played football to win. Even if it was 4-on-4 in the front yard, you played to win, and if you were shooting hoops in somebody's driveway 2-on-2, well, you played to win. And those things I just named, it like my kids don't do that. My kids don't go, they don't go out in the neighborhood and play 2-on-2 hoops. Like nobody's doing that, so I do think there was something to the competitive nature growing up, and so I do think that was different. And again, I don't want to jump in, all in, but let me say this, Eddie. Let me say this.
Mm-hmm.
I say this to kids that come to camp all the time. If I would have had a cell phone, when I was in middle school or high school, I'm being serious, Eddie. Like, I don't know if I would have been the player that I became. I didn't have all those distractions. Like, my early days of high school, we just went up to the field and we hit in the cage
Yeah.
because there wasn't anything else to
Nothing else
do.
to do. That,
If
and
if you
I say
were
that all the time. Go ahead.
if you were lucky, somebody brought a transistor radio and we put
Hmm.
it on the FM station and listened to some Def
Yeah.
Leppard and some Prince. Like that's if
Right.
we were lucky. We didn't have that
Yep.
on our phone. We, like
Yeah.
so it was definitely different times. And you were competing, you were playing sports, you were getting after it, man. You were
Yeah.
outside, like, and
Yeah.
hate to sound like that old man, but and
That's
I just say that like I say that as I'm not talking down to kids of today. Like I
no.
don't
It's
know
just
if I would
harder.
be good. Yeah, I don't know if I'd be
That's
good at balancing a phone.
exactly. I say that all the time. I think it's harder because there's more distractions. To get in trouble back in our days, we had to go find it. I mean, you really had to go seek it out. Now it's at your phone. You don't have any issue. It'll find you, and so it's definitely tougher. Now, on a positive note, with it, with these kids, as far as the sports being ultra competitive, when you do get on the field, if you do make it past the phone and get to the field, we're starting to see these major league stars come up and they're ready to go younger and younger now because they've been training as a professional since the age of 10. So I think for those types it helps, but it's one of those things where you really, if you love the game now, you really know you love it, because most kids, they don't watch baseball. We didn't have baseball academies, so in order for us to learn how to play, we had to imitate. I'm imitating. This is back. Sammy Sosa and Mark McGuire were kings. They resurrected the sport. So I'm in the living room breaking my mom's coffee table, trying to recreate 62, the number 62 home run. So now who was your guy? You're coming up, and did you watch baseball much?
Oh yeah. Oh,
Mhm.
100%. I mean, again, whatever was on TV, we were watching. But yeah,
Yeah.
like when I think about early baseball, the Astros, Nolan Ryan, when Nolan
Hmm.
Ryan was an Astro.
Hmm.
When I got late high school and really got all in, it was Barry Bonds. And that's
Yeah.
when he was a Pittsburgh Pirate with Bobby
Yeah.
Bonilla. And, I don't even know what we called it back then. I can tell you this true story, Eddie.
Hmm.
I was at TCU as a college baseball player.
Hmm.
I went to see the equipment room, the football guy, and I told him I wanted some high tops. And he
Mm.
looked at me like, high tops, like,
Bobby
hey
Bonds,
man,
baby.
if Bobby Bonds is
Very-
wearing, if those guys are wearing high tops, I want some high tops.
yeah.
So that was like my freshman year of college. I was
Hmm.
wearing molded football cleats that were high
Hmm.
tops because they look cool.
Just got to make it
When I
look right.
when I was in high school and even like middle school, I don't think looking cool was a thing. I don't
Right.
remember that wasn't a thing. Like when Bonds and Bonilla and the Pirates got a little flavor, man. That's when I
Hmm.
got in it. And again, I just, as you and I are going to talk, I'm going to say things like, "Oh, well, I wouldn't have done it that way." Well, that's when I was 19 and
Who would have known?
I was going to get
Yeah.
high top
There you go.
cleats so I could look cool. So I've been there
There you go.
before, just like all
They'll
these
know,
guys.
right? They'll know what it would have been. That's right. That's right. No. That's a good way to put it. And I think kids still do it these days. It's just maybe it's not the high top cleats. Maybe it's wearing your wristbands a certain way, or now the big thing is bat flips. And I'll say that it's a little softer now because you pitched a little bit, and I'm a catcher, and see, back in those days, if you throw the bat up in the air after you hit a home run, that's fine. Just know that it's going to be paid for next time you come around, and it's the tip of the hat. You know what time it is.
Yep.
It's no problem. You do whatever you want to. Just make sure you're ready to do the other part also. That's all. So it's definitely different, but there's no collisions at the plate or anything now. Which I get it. Is you're trying to protect the players, and so that's a good thing too. You got to find other
Yeah.
ways to compete.
Well,
Yeah.
again, it's going to be such an odd conversation for you and I because every comment's gonna take me down a different little
Memory
strand.
lane.
But I've been a head coach now for 17 years, a
Hmm.
college assistant for another 8 or 9. Man, that play at the plate, Eddie. Every time I seen it, I always cringe because it's not out or safe. It's not is he hurt. We're
Yeah.
about to fight. We're about to
Right.
fight.
Oh yeah.
Here comes the play
Yeah.
at the plate. Oh no, we're about to
Now
fight.
let me ask you this: what is maybe I'm a little crazy. You have to tell me if I'm a little crazy for this. When you say is he hurt? Who are you talking about?
The catcher. The
Okay.
catcher. That was the guy I was
I'm
worried about.
I'm a little crazy because I used to relish the moment that would happen because I'm getting in a good low position and I'm dishing out some punishment when
Yeah.
the guy, because I'm the one suited up. I'm good to go. Now, of course, if you get that one throw that takes you up the line and you're just exposed, it is what it is. But I mean, those are my favorite. Now, I was fortunate not to get hurt. You get a Buster Posey situation. Well, now you're messing with the money. So hey, let's outrule this and let's keep our stars on the field. So I get it, I get it. But I always say catching, to be a good ball player, you got to be a little crazy anyway. But catching, I mean, you really got to have a certain mentality to be good at that position. It's very confrontational, So I love
Yeah,
it though.
you got to be
Yeah,
a lot crazy to catch.
yeah.
And when I think about my time coaching, man, a
Mhm.
lot of my favorite players have always been catchers. It's just
Mhm.
you got to have the right mentality. You got to be a tough
Yeah,
kid, and
yeah,
yeah, that's a tough
yeah,
spot to get back there and get
yeah.
it on back there.
Now, for me as a catcher, I look. You played first base, correct?
Yes, mostly
I would
outfield.
say first base, outfield. I'm a catcher because I know where the ball's coming. I have no problem with that. I don't like surprises. I will drop a fly ball quick. I'll drop a ground ball because I don't know if it's coming. So I would look at you guys and say, "Oh man, I don't know how y'all do it. At least I know where the ball's coming, and I'm active in every play." So it's all depends on how you look at it. So, but yeah. No, that's a pretty cool dynamic. Now let me ask you this: when you played, you mentioned a little bit about playing ball, and I mean $30 for the league, no big deal. You're out there getting after it. Now where you're from, how was the weather? Because we got a unique situation this far south. We playing on Christmas, and we can get a bunch of games in, no problem. How did it work? Was it just that season? You only had a few months, or how did that work out for you guys over there?
When I was in junior high and high school, it was just that season. Like my
Hmm.
thoughts clearly now, um, in high school and even when I was in college and starting to quote unquote become a guy, the
Hmm.
winter was still basketball, Eddie. That's how you
Hmm.
got in shape. There wasn't any CrossFit. There wasn't
Yeah.
any Jeff Pelucio, the guy in Corpus Christi that trains all the kids and shows
Hmm.
them how to
Hmm.
strip. Like there wasn't anybody doing that
Yeah, you
back
didn't have
then.
that.
Like you want to get a
Right.
good workout in, let's meet the
Hmm.
boys up at the gym and play a little 5-on-5
Yeah,
and run the
that's right.
floor. Like,
There you go.
that's so, that was the winter off season was going to
Hmm.
get a basketball and run up and down that gym floor.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. Well, so we fast forward to today's times. We got youth tournaments, we got select teams, we got rec teams, and we have some history. You've been at my facility in my Rise days. Your daughter played for us, and even on the softball side, it's all the same stuff. What do you think about the way things go now, as far as kids playing on select teams? Is it something that helps them? Do you think that there's a give and take with it? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
It's a give and take for sure.
Hmm.
If you said, hey, do 10 minutes on what you like about it, I could do 10
Yeah,
minutes easy. Do 10
right.
minutes on what you don't like, I could probably do 10 minutes
To
easy.
me,
But
yeah,
I'm a positive person. Like
yeah.
and good or bad, my youngest, she plays select soccer in town,
Hmm.
and that's her kind of golden ticket. That's what she likes. It's fun. She wants to play year round. Well, like the
Hmm.
positive, I would tell you, Eddie, she's good. Like
Yeah.
she's really good. Her skills are advanced, and I'm not doing that in the backyard. That's
Right.
she's not getting that from
Right.
me. She's getting that from, and I do think she gets a higher level of coaching and instruction. And so, that's my positive of it. Like she's
Hmm.
got a passion for the sport. She's good at it. She wants to play at a high level. And now
Yeah.
I try to take that with a little spoon of salt. Like, well, wait a minute, she's 10. Like,
Right.
hey, let's just go have some fun, But
Yeah.
um, you know, I'm I'm fine with people wanting to go be great at a sport. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Obviously, it goes without saying, you know, I think every kid should be able to play whatever sport they want to play
Whatever.
and
That's
enjoy it.
right.
And, But again, that being said, Eddie, Friday night tomorrow, my
Hmm.
14-year-old's a freshman. She's going to play
Hmm.
in round 2 of the high school state playoffs for volleyball. They're
Hmm.
going to compete against the best team in the valley at 5 o'clock in Kingsville.
Yeah.
And when that game's over at 6:30 or 7, she's going to get in the car with my wife, and they're going to drive 5 hours to College Station, maybe get there at midnight so
Yep.
that she can play a 10 a.m. triple header in softball with her
Oh, there you
select
go.
team. And then they're going to stay in College Station and play a doubleheader Sunday and then drive 5 hours back to Corpus. Like,
Yeah.
man,
Well,
sometimes I feel like we're chasing our tail. Like, man, what are we doing?
well,
Like,
let me ask you: is she during those times when she's on the field or the court? Is she on her phone?
as soon as the
Nope.
game's over, she's
Yeah,
on her phone.
that's okay. Wait, hey, balance is
Yeah.
balance. That's fine. But hey,
But
you're not
in
on
the
the phone.
dugout and
Hey,
on
we're
the
not.
field, no, no,
Yeah. Hey,
she's not.
I'm I'm all for it. That I mean, and it's the thing. You only get one shot at it, right? She's only going to be young for one time. I mean, when she gets to that level, eventually you won't be the coach anymore. You won't be able to go and see how things are going at that level. She'll be on a higher level, and so and, it. I think it all works out, and I cherish the times, and some people don't have the opportunity to even experience that, so it's positive, it's a positive
Sure.
thing, but it is a grind. I know how that goes. It definitely is a
Well,
grind. So.
and let me kind of put a bow on this part
Hmm.
and say one more thing. Like, when I was eighth grade, ninth grade, 10th grade, we dreamed about like playing baseball for the Longhorns or playing baseball
Hmm.
for the Aggies, or you dreamed about that. Like, you couldn't
Yeah.
reach out and touch it. That was way down the road,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think what's really different for my daughter, because of social media, because of ESPN Plus and streaming, like the
Yeah.
idea that she might play, Division 1 sports, it's not a dream that's at the other end of
Right.
the street. My
Yeah.
freshman daughter can reach out and touch it.
Touch
She
it.
can
That's
see
right.
girls 2 years older than her
Hmm.
putting their commitment on Twitter, on Instagram, on,
Hmm.
man, it's just right there.
Yep.
And now, is that good or bad? Yes. Yes.
Right.
Probably a little bit of both.
Right.
But
Right.
because of so much more media and how we're all connected, and you and I can be sitting here having a podcast to Zoom, and
Hmm.
maybe be across town, but be right here with each other.
Yep.
Man, we're so connected. Everything's so easy.
Hmm.
I think it's got some good and some bad too.
And some bad. Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. So you know what? That's a perfect segue into my next question for you, because I want to know this, and you got to take your college coaching hat off and put just the fan of the sport hat on, right? For youth sports, if you had to choose more games or I won't even say youth sports. Let's just keep it baseball. Let's keep it baseball. More games or more practice? Baseball and softball,
So
either one, they both the same thing. Which one would you advocate for, and why?
you're kind of stealing part of my camp speech that I give once a month when we have 75 to 100 high school kids come, and I do a 2-hour Q&A with the moms and dads, answer every question they
Hmm.
have. And my big thing right now, my big word is development. It's
Hmm.
development. And you said take off your college coaching hat. Hey man, I'm living in a parent world.
Yeah.
I've got a 14-year-old and a 10-year-old that eat and sleep sports, and they
Hmm.
want to go. And yet there's days where I got to motivate them to go and practice. But here it is, Eddie, like, I have been talking to these moms and dads about the money we're spending on games, the money we're spending on showcases.
Hmm.
Are we, and I'm in this boat too, as parents, are we missing the development piece? Are we
There we go.
missing that piece? Should
Yeah.
should my 14-year-old, where is my investment in the strength and conditioning? Where's my
Thank you.
investment in the athlete, in the nutrition, in the even the
Yes.
sleep,
Yeah.
the
Yes.
sleep, or am I raising her the right way? Am I
Hmm.
am I going in her room and taking her phone so she can go to sleep at night?
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
um, so that is a huge niche word in college
Hmm.
sports, high school sports, and now getting into summer and youth sports. the development piece. And I tell
Yes.
them,
Yeah.
it's not a race to spend more money. That's not what I'm telling you. You don't have
Hmm.
to go find a private instructor to help your kid do bench press and box
Sure.
jumps. And now
No.
again, doesn't always hurt to find somebody
Yeah.
that can lead in that area.
Right.
But I
Yeah.
do think that is the next really big piece
Hmm.
is we're building these players, we're building hitters, we're building
Yeah.
pitchers, we're building soccer goalies, we're building
Hmm.
three-point shooters. Are we
Yes.
getting bigger, stronger, faster? Are we
Thank you.
thinking about what we're eating? Are we thinking
Yes.
about how much we're sleeping? I think that's the next big one. I do.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And one of the examples that I like to use, man, it's where a parent may buy a $400 bat, but I'm like, hey, the bat's not going to hit the ball for him or her. Spend the money on the lessons. I don't want to hear about this bat has pop. All bats have pop if you know how to swing them. It doesn't matter, what the bat is. So it's kind of that concept, like you said, of hey, there's nothing wrong with spending the money, but put it in the right areas to develop. We want to see athletes, and we didn't have to work on that as much because we did that for fun. We didn't have anything else to do, so we're at the basketball court. There's your conditioning right there, where we're playing tag, or playing football, in the street or whatever the case. But you're developing athletically. I mean, one of our things, we used to hang around the green electric box, and that's the first daredevil thing you did. You did a somersault off of that and prayed you made it, but it's just athletic movements, it's just something that I would venture to say I would probably like more practices because of that standpoint. Now, don't get me wrong, games develop also, right? So I mean, sometimes I'll evaluate players and say, hey, they're probably a good 50 to 100 games behind because they need those at bats. So you gotta get the games too. But I remember a story, a guy that I used to work underneath. His name is Charlie Hayes. He won the World Series with the Yankees, and just a great guy. He runs the BLBA Academy in Houston, Tomball. And I remember his son, Key Bryan, is a third baseman, big time ball player for the Pirates, made it to the big leagues, the whole thing. And I remember Charlie telling me when he was in high school, when Key Brown was in high school, he said, listen, a lot of these teams are coming after my son. They want him to play for the weekend and help this team and that team. And he said, you know what we would do? We'd tell him no. And then we would go to the ball field and I'd get 1,000 ground balls to him. And we would hit for 2 hours because he'll play in the game. You might get 2 or 3 balls hit to you, maybe, in a tournament. You win a trophy, but I lost the work. I didn't get the work ethic. And while everybody else is chasing the trophies, he was the guy that stayed in the background, did his work quietly, and got drafted, went to the show, and now he's the standpoint there at the hot corner, for the Pirates. That's a prime example. I'll never forget that. I don't even know if Charlie remembers that. When he sees this, he'll remember that conversation. But I never forgot that, man, because that rang true to me.
Well, it's funny when you start talking about Charlie Hayes. Like I know Charlie Hayes.
Okay.
He
Yeah.
used to be the old third baseman for the Yankees. Now he's Cabrian's dad. He's
Yeah,
not Charlie.
exactly.
Oh yeah, Cabrian's dad. That's right. Yeah.
And he loves it. Charlie loves it, man. There's nothing that
sure.
makes him more happy than traveling and seeing his son play. I mean, he's his biggest fan. That is awesome. It's awesome. Yeah.
And even I get it. I've been in Corpus now 17 years, and I've always been coach. And we can go to Walmart, we can go to HEB, we can go eat dinner at Chili's. Coach, and my kids are like, who's that guy? Oh, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Some guy, so, but there are times where I'm starting to become Parker Malone's dad. Hey, you're Parker Malone's dad? And there's nothing wrong with that. So
that means you're doing it right.
That's right. You're doing it right. But I'll say this, and this has been a tough one for my wife and I, and this is the power of, and it's select anything, but right now select softball, and again, you talked about it. I've played in your building and wore a Rise uniform with you. And, now we've got my daughter on Team X and all the girls 2 years older than her on Team X, they're all committing to Power 5 colleges.
Yeah.
Eddie. So it's almost like I've got my kid on this conveyor belt. Yeah. And I know if I can just keep her going on the conveyor belt with Team X, there's a 75% chance she's going to commit with a big school in a couple of years. Well, Eddie, she's playing volleyball and loving it, and putting on a Vets Memorial High School jersey, which blows my mind watching my kid compete. But yet I got to keep her going in the fall on these weekends because I don't want her to lose her spot
right
on the travel ball team for softball, because this team is held in such high regard by the college softball coaches. Hey, Coach Malone, just keep your daughter on that team. She'll go wherever she wants to go. Again, sometimes I feel like we're chasing our tail as parents because I just need her on the roster. I just need her. It's not about the reps. I just need her on the roster.
Yeah, just being affiliated.
Because it's perception, Eddie. And I talk about that word a lot with my high school parents that I come in contact with at camps. Perception. Let's don't get caught up in perception. But there are many times in life where perception is reality.
People judge book by covers. You can't help it. I mean, it is what it is. Yeah. So now let me ask you this, moving forward, we're getting into the part where it's time to prep for high school. And so when parents are looking for teams or players are looking for teams to go and play for, I remember running a practice, and I don't know if everybody understood what I was trying to accomplish out there. I had a bunch of kids there, but we were doing some infield drill work, and you were the only parent to come up to me and say, "Hey, I like this." And with just little things that, tag plays or just throwing the ball around the horn, just footwork, things like that. I've always been an advocate of, look, whatever team you're playing for, even if they're not good, you be the one. You be the superstar to put the team on your back. You're going to learn leadership skills. But what are the coaches teaching you? If you can develop, that's all that matters. Get there, get after it, learn what you can, learn how to be a leader, and build your teammates up. That's what's going to resonate. Is that how you see it when you see these youth organizations having workouts and all that? Is that how you would justify?
Simple terms, with really youth sports, simple terms, man. How much do you care? How much do you care? You can imagine with a 14-year-old and a 10-year-old that have played every sport possible, the number of people that have coached my kids. If you have a passion for my kid, if you have a passion for the team she's on, hey man, I'm in. Yeah. And I can remember coming up and talk to you, man, Eddie, that was an outstanding 30 minutes, man. Hey man, I loved it, the drills and what you're doing. But I also do that. I also do that because I'm into customer service.
Yeah.
And I understand running a business. And what I do know is when something's not going well, Eddie, there will be a line waiting to tell you what you're doing wrong.
Yes,
so
sir.
I always like to go out of my way when somebody's doing something well to go knock on the door, to go tap them. Hey, you're doing that really well.
Yeah.
Because it's easy for somebody to, well, hey, I think this really stinks. Well,
You're
that's
right.
easy, man. Like,
Yeah.
But people don't take the time to tell you, man, I really like this. I appreciate the time that you are putting into this with my kid and her friends. And hey, thank you for doing that. It
stood out. I don't even know if you know if I remembered that, but I remember that out of most things. Yeah.
So one of easily, hands down, one of the best youth coaches in the city of Corpus Christi, one of the best youth coaches, and I'm trying to keep a straight face, Coach Michelle, who coaches the Daisies at Oso Kickball. And again, like you may want to rewind, like, hold on just a second. Let me rewind. What did he just say? Did he say the Daisies? Hey man, like I watched her I took my kid to the first ever kickball practice, and they spent an hour learning how to bunt. And Eddie, I stood there like, is this lady fixing to spend an hour and teach these girls how to bunt a kickball? And I'm like, man, I'm in. That's it. I'm in. Like,
there you go.
But
attention to detail.
Just my point, man. The detail, the time you want to spend with my kid, coaching them up, making them better, holding them accountable, giving them some instruction. Man, I'm in.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, that's awesome. That's awesome, man. So, to move forward from there, we're getting into the pre-high school time, right? And it's time to get prepared, get bigger, faster, stronger, become that athlete. When you played, were there middle school like baseball teams for the school to
No,
prepare for high school? No
that
middle
was
school
not a
team.
thing. I played for
Okay.
Elliott Hamel Funeral Homes when I was in the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Elliott
Oh,
Hamel Funeral Homes. How do you like that?
how does that
That
happen?
was
Well, okay.
Well,
How
all
does
the
that one
senior
happen?
league teams had a sponsor. Back then, you weren't
Oh,
the
okay.
Astros or the Expos or the
Yeah.
Mets. You
They
were you
named the
were
teams the
yeah,
sponsor.
you were Caldwell Bankers. You we didn't know any
Yeah.
better. We didn't know it was
Yeah.
cool to put on a Boston Red Sox jersey in the 7th grade. We didn't know that. So you were
Yeah.
just Caldwell Bankers, and yeah, man. I was Elliott Hamel Funeral Homes. So
What was the
you know
logo?
what was what?
The logo. What was the logo?
We were black and gold like the Pirates.
Okay.
And it said Elliott Hamel Funeral Homes right across the
Okay.
chest, man. Hey, you were getting your bang for your buck if
Yeah.
you were writing a $500 check to sponsor the team.
Oh,
You were
yes.
getting your bang for your buck. So,
For sure.
but I
For
mean,
sure.
again, man, I'm showing my age. Like
Yeah.
I don't even remember it. Like nobody cared to. Oh, we should put on a Pirates hat and a Pirates jersey. Like that wasn't
Yeah.
a thing back then. You were
Mhm.
you were just glad you had a pair of pants and a belt, man.
Yeah, to go play the game. That's right. That's right. So
Yeah.
what where do you rank lifting? We're trying to get prepared for high school. Want to get bigger and stronger. What do you think about lifting weights where you and that usually gets a little serious, I guess, once you get to the point where you're actually developing your body to play a sport. Sometimes, it doesn't click for people that early. But pre-high school, I mean, it's the seventh and eighth graders be lifting, trying to get prepared.
Boy, man, this is a hard one for me.
Yeah.
And I say this as a positive.
Mhm.
At my level, I don't have to be in the weight room. I don't have to
Mhm.
design a lift for my pitchers, my hitters, any of my guys. We have
Yeah.
professionals that
That
do
take care of it.
that. Now,
Yeah. Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
my best way to speak to like your podcast, we just signed my 14-year-old up to start doing a winter, like a 8-week session over like November and December. Supposed to be
Mhm.
an off season kind of a prep workout to lead into spring sports.
Mhm.
I just signed her up, and it's under the umbrella, Eddie, of a why am I drawing the blank? A CrossFit
Yeah.
place. And that
Yeah.
word, ooh, CrossFit. Oh, that I don't. That's not what I'm looking for my kid.
Mhm.
I'm not
Mhm.
looking for that wear and tear and kind of
Yeah.
pound on her body, but I
Yeah.
do want her to train. It is time for her. You said box jumps.
Mhm.
It is time for her to start pushing some of those activities and training her body
Mhm.
bigger, stronger, faster, but even like leaner, and quicker and
Yeah.
agility. It is time for her to start dipping her toes in that water. To me, I think it's high school.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's high school. That's when it's time to
Yeah.
to get serious about that next step and start training to get bigger and stronger and faster.
Yes. Yeah. Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Well, now, what about this? I've always had this question. I wanted to know, especially from a coach's mindset at the level that you're at, wood bats versus metal bats or aluminum bats. Um, how early should they be swinging the wood bats? Does it make your eyebrows raise up a little bit when you see a kid square one up with a wood bat as opposed to an aluminum bat? What are your thoughts on that?
It doesn't. More
Mhm.
often than not, my assistant coach who's in charge of our recruiting, it's
Mhm.
really more of a gripe. Man, we went to this tournament and I got, I'm trying to evaluate these 50 hitters. Well, they're all
Mhm.
using a wood bat.
And they
And the
can't
only
swing.
guys I know that use a wood bat are Altuve and Correa and
Yeah.
Corey
Yeah.
Seager. Well, hey, man, most kids in Corpus Christi aren't ready to go
Mhm.
swing that same wooden bat as those guys I'm watching on TV. And
Right.
we don't swing it in college. So
Right.
I don't need to see a high school hitter swinging with a wood bat. I just don't. Hey, man,
Mhm.
get that guy an aluminum bat and show me you can hit with it.
Yeah.
There might be an MLB scout. Man, I'd really like to see
Sure.
this kid swing with some wood. Blake Mitchell at Sinton. Now,
Yeah.
let me see this kid. I don't need to see that guy
Yeah.
swing with wood.
Right.
So
Let him be
for me,
let
yeah,
him swing it, not everybody else. He's
yeah.
he's one out of a million.
And
So,
again, like Eddie,
yeah.
that doesn't make it right. You know,
Yeah.
you asked for my opinion on wood and aluminum.
Yeah.
I don't need to see a kid, whether he's 10, 13, 16. Hey man,
Hmm.
get that kid an aluminum bat, let him go to work
Yeah.
and
Let's
start
get
hitting.
after it. Well,
Yeah.
and that's what this is about. You know, it's getting into the mind and basically pulling back the veil a little bit, the curtain, and bringing our audience into the inner workings of how things go. Because you know, me coming up and playing and trying to get to the big leagues and all that, and you know, I've seen some things, and a lot of times I know when I was running the academy, you know, parents just don't know. They just do not know what to look for or what should be going. So they're doing the best they can. And I'm like, man, if you'd have known this, you probably would have saved yourself some time, some money, and he or she probably wouldn't have as much pressure on them because you guys are worrying about things now that you shouldn't be worried about. Let's just be athletic and wait for that time, and then you'll get out there and get after it if it calls for a wood bat, for instance, or something like that. So yeah, these are nuggets, man. I don't know if you realize that this is and you've had some experience obviously dealing with parents. I mean, when you do your speeches and they come to your camps, I mean, are they pretty responsive? Most of the parents like, man, I'm glad you told me that because I didn't know.
The bulk of the parents, and there's a couple of times this is the second time tonight I feel like I'm making a comment like, am I sticking my chest out? Like the bulk of the parents, I think tongue in cheek, will tell
Mhm.
me, Coach, the $100 we paid for today, I could have just come up, sat here and had a Q&A and listened to you answer everybody's questions for 2 hours. We could have
And that's
left.
yeah,
Forget what my kid's doing.
just right.
Forget that my kid's playing on it. Just
Yeah.
having this access to ask
Yes.
questions, talk to you, kind of find out what's the day in the life of a college kid look like.
Yep.
You know, this is what we need.
Yes.
And
Yes.
again,
Yes.
I'm in the customer service business. I
Mhm.
get 100 kids come to my camp and do a 3, 4, 5 hour workout.
Mhm.
Not every kid's going to leave. Oh, that was great. You know, my 10
Sure.
ground balls and my 12 BP swings. And
Mhm.
I want to make sure the moms and dads, as best I can, are walking to the car going, well, hey, that was worth our $100.
There
You
you
know,
go.
I'm glad you got to do
Mhm.
your workout. I'm glad the coaches saw you. I'm glad I got to stand there with Coach Malone and go through that Q&A with the other parents and answer some questions. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
yeah.
So let's put our let's put our imaginary cap on. You're at a game. You know, you're not scouting or nothing. You're just watching a random baseball game, youth game, 10-year-old game, 10-year-old game, and you know, you see the pitcher struggling, and on his own, a 10-year-old catcher calls timeout and goes to talk to his pitcher to calm him down and give him some words of wisdom. What would you say about that catcher?
The guys learned how to be a good teammate. I mean, that's, you know,
Mhm.
we talk about that right now with 21, 22 year olds at my practice. That's hard to
Mhm.
do. They don't always understand what that means. You know,
Yes.
I talked to my 14-year-old. You're either giving energy or you're taking it.
Yeah.
There's no in
Yeah.
between. You're
Yeah.
either giving it or you're taking it.
Yes.
Um,
Yes. Yes.
you
Yes.
know, in practice today, we're doing a bunt competition, a bunt game, and kid
Mhm.
fouled one off, and a kid fouled one off, and he had that kind of, he looked at coach like he thought he was in trouble and he was about to get yelled at, and he had that sad like a body language, you know, and
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
heard coach say, "Hey man, put a smile on your face, get back in there and get the bunt down."
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just telling him the technique to get the bunt down. Hey man, knock it off, put
Confidence.
that
Yeah.
smile on your face, get back in the batter's box and go put that bunt down. Like
That's right.
we are still coaching
Yeah.
high-end college athletes body language and
Right.
the
Right.
the
Right.
energy
Right.
that you are giving off. You know, that matters. Winning
Yes.
matters.
Yes.
Like how you carry
Mhm.
yourself, how you stand there waiting in line matters. And I don't think
Yes.
that gets
Yes.
coached enough. I don't
There
think
you
that
go.
gets
Yes.
coached
Yes, sir.
enough.
That's
Yeah.
right, and that's one of the main points, especially when we do these podcasts and these interviews. We want to make sure that that information gets out because it's gonna help everybody. And that's as far as especially the catching position, catchers don't understand that your position on the field. Sometimes you're a counselor. You know, it's just an emotional thing. You got to go and talk to your guy, and even in the female side with softball, same thing. It's just if things aren't going a certain way, just go and calm them down. You know, that you don't have to wait for the coach to tell you that. Take control. It's impressive. You know, I know my eyebrows would definitely raise up if I were to see something like that, especially from a kid that's 10 years old. You know, to have that kind of wherewithal to go out there and take control. It's ahead of their time on that. Now, at a young age, pre-high school, we're coming up, pre-high school, who should call pitches? Coaches or the catchers?
Oh man, you left one guy out. You gave me two choices, and you left one guy out.
It can't
How
be the
about
pitcher.
well, I believe in a word called conviction. I do.
Okay.
You can
Okay.
watch the Islanders play, you're
Mhm.
going to hear it. And if my guy's struggling on the mound, hey man, conviction.
Yeah.
Don't be
Yeah.
taking that ball and getting ready to attack that hitter, throw that pitch
If you
over the
don't.
plate if you
Mhm.
don't have conviction. I'd rather
Gotcha.
go get the next guy. You know, I'd
Yeah.
rather you just wave me on out, coach. I'm done. I don't
Yeah.
believe in it. Well, then let me get the
Yeah.
next
Yeah.
guy. You know,
Gotcha.
so that's my word. So I would go
Mhm.
back to the week leading up to this game you're talking about.
Mhm.
Does the pitcher and the catcher have conviction in their
Right.
relationship and what they're doing? Does the
Yes. There
pitcher
we
and
go.
the coach, or the pitcher catcher and the coach, have conviction in what
Right.
they're doing? You know,
Yes.
so
I agree. I agree.
yeah. I mean,
Yep.
now again, you're talking about, and I'm going to say two things. You're talking about the catching position and its value. You're 100% right.
Mhm.
But you know, if a guy goes out there and walks 4 or 5 batters in the last inning and gives up a couple of doubles and they lose, well, nobody's walking in the parking lot going, man, that catcher stunk.
Yeah.
Like, hey man, that I'm the one out there in the circle throwing
That's
it
right.
over the plate. You
Yes.
know, so now again, do I need to have a great relationship with my catcher? Do we need to
Mhm.
count on each other, motivate each other?
Mhm.
Yes. But I do think whether that kid's 6 or 8 or 10 or 12,
Mhm.
you know, curveball or change up or whatever, you know, fastball, inside, outside, that kid needs to have conviction when he
Conviction.
shakes his head. Yes.
That's right. That's
Yes.
right. And like you
You
said, I
know,
think it comes into preparation. You know, it's more about, hey, the catcher and the pitcher should be on the same page anyway. So, you know, the catcher's calling a pitch, it's because we did the research and we already talked about this before we came out here. So we're on the same page. You
yeah.
know, it's not a problem. I was and really with that being said, really had to do with coaches, like especially in a lot of youth sports or even high school. Sometimes the coaches call the games. The only issue that I have sometimes is that the catcher doesn't develop to understand why the pitch is being called. So, I'm assuming that maybe they are in on it also, and then they do the research together with the catchers. But it seems like maybe a little bit of a lost art where the catcher is not understanding how to set up hitters, how to talk to your pitchers, understand what they feel comfortable with. Runners on third, you know, do they trust you enough to throw that slide piece, knowing that you're going to block it? Versus being a little timid because you may not be the guy that's going to put it in front of you. So, you know, I agree. It's definitely the teamwork aspect and doing the work before you get, just like hitting, you know, you got to do the work and have an approach before you get to the plate. That way you give yourself the best shot, you know? So,
Yep. Yep.
yeah, no. So,
I got a good
okay.
nugget for you right here. I got a good nugget
Yeah.
for
What you
you.
got?
Again, real talk, and it was great.
Mhm.
This summer, I went with my daughter's 14U softball team to Colorado.
Mhm.
We had never done a week-long tournament before. It was going to
Mhm.
be 10 games in 6 or 7 days, and the assistant coach couldn't go. So,
Mhm.
hey, Coach Malone, you mind jumping in for the week? Hey, man, I'm in. I'm in.
There you go.
So I'm
Mhm.
the first base coach, and I'm just helping out. I had been in the stands a little, so I could hear mom and dad some, and now I'm on the field in the dugout. I can still hear mom and dad some, and this is a really good one, Eddie. It's a good one.
Mhm.
We had maybe some line drives or fly balls in the gaps, and you know the girls are kind of running together and not making the play, and maybe
Mhm.
pulling up and not making the play, and our head coach, kind of a barker, you know, boop,
Mhm.
boop, boop. He's
Right.
barking at the
Mhm.
center fielder every time. Right center gap, center fielder's in trouble. Left center gap, center fielder's in trouble. Shallow
Right.
pop up by center fielder's in trouble. And I heard the mom, oh, every time, doesn't matter. Deep, shallow, left, right, always got to
Mhm.
be my daughter. Why is Alice always getting in trouble?
Right.
And, after the game, he had said, hey, had this game, Coach Malone, you got anything? Yeah, I do. And I pulled the catcher and the shortstop and the center fielder to the side of the group. Hey, let's be crystal clear. You're the catcher, you're the shortstop, you're the center fielder. We rotate around every now and then, but everybody on this team of 12 girls knows you're
Yeah.
the catcher, you're the shortstop, you're the center fielder. I want to be crystal clear. Whether it's Coach K or whether it's me, if anything goes sideways, you're the only 3 girls that are going to get it.
Yep.
Now listen,
Yep.
if that bothers you, let either one of us know. We'll move you to another
There
position.
you go.
If you
That's
want, and this is where I'm bringing it back to your catchers. If you want to catch, you're going to get it.
Yep.
But
yep.
well,
Heavy.
the pitcher's doing that. I'm not going to sit here and yell at some kid who's out there sweating, trying to.
Yeah.
Hey man, settle that guy. You're in charge.
Yes.
In the infield, the shortstop's in charge. In the outfield, and if you don't want to handle the talking to on every play, it's not a problem. I will move you to another position.
Change it to a different position.
And listen, those 14-year-old girls that didn't say another word. You're dang right, Coach. I want it. Do you understand? I think they just didn't know why they were getting it.
Yeah, that's it.
Sometimes I don't think we give kids enough credit.
Oh yeah, no, they're sharp.
You're going to get it. I'm going to talk to you.
Yeah,
this is
and
why.
they can handle it.
And
just let them know why.
Unbelievable week. And I don't. After that, I don't remember the mom saying anything else.
Mm-hmm.
You want your daughter to play a premium position?
Yeah,
you are going to get it.
Premium
and that's
smoke.
the reason. Hey, ask Dak Prescott. You think he gets tired of getting it every Sunday night? Hey man, you put that jersey on that says Dallas Cowboys quarterback. You are going to get it. And don't tell me, well, Tony Pollard messed up. I don't care.
No.
Man, I wish he would have caught that. It don't matter.
That's right.
So every catcher and catcher's parent that listens to this, you are getting it. It is your show.
That's what you're signing up for.
Yes.
That's right. That's what you sign up for. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. You don't post the good stuff and don't be ready to post the bad stuff. It's all comes with the territory.
I know there's parents that are going to watch this. Parents, players that are going to watch this, but parents know, when you're Coach Eddie and you're running Rise, I'm not looking for somebody else to gripe to. Hey man, where's Eddie? Where's Eddie?
Yeah.
Hey man, I got a problem.
That's right.
There's always a line waiting to well, it's your place, man. Your name's up on the roof. Nobody comes up to Islander practice looking for my assistant coaches. They don't.
You're right.
Win and it goes well, it's on me. Losing, it's on me. That's the deal, man. That's the deal.
Yes. So let me ask you this: when we get to the high school level, and you have a unique situation because your father was the man behind the glory over there, head coach, and you got a chance to play for him. And I'd like to ask this because I thought I might have had some situations with my son. Not that I'm hard. I'm one of the more understanding players parents because I played and all that. But I think that he put more pressure on himself because he wanted to please me because I'm dad. Did you experience that at all? You going and playing at that level underneath your dad?
So 4 years of high school baseball with my dad as my head coach at a very high end high school where the expectations, a district championship wasn't up for debate. Were we going to go 3, 4, 5 rounds and go to Austin? That was the only thing up for debate. Nothing else was. So the standards were high. The first 2 years, my time wasn't miserable. I was treated borderline miserably by my dad because he wanted every player to know I'll bury my kid twice before I bury you. I got buried twice. I was going to get it 2 times before anybody got it once. And that was fine. But he wanted everybody to know my guy will get no preferential treatment. I'll bury that kid. And he did. And I think some days he buried me just so everybody knew he was going to, hey man, he might bury his kid. Boom, there it was. Now I think the last 2 years though, we as a group, me included, we knew where the line was. We knew when, hey man, we might can goof around during this drill and have a good time. Hey man, y'all stand up straight and be quiet. Like
Yeah.
we knew where the line was. We had
Yeah.
learned and we respected the line. So
Yeah.
my
Yes.
junior and senior year of high school was unbelievable. I won back then. There wasn't a 6A, 5A was the biggest. We won back-to-back state championships in my sophomore and junior year, and man, I wouldn't trade those days for anything.
Yeah.
It
Big
was as
time.
good as it gets, and we were treated well in that city. But I had an unbelievable relationship with my dad because of that
Yeah.
time. And
Yes, sir.
my dad's level of accountability was gross. Like we had a
Unmatched.
curfew every day. We had a curfew every day. Maybe not. I
Ran a
don't know.
tight
Maybe we
ship.
did in the fall, but starting
Yeah.
January 1 to June 1, we had a curfew every day. And
Yeah.
there just wasn't much up for debate with my dad. You knew where the lines were. And
Yes.
back then there, nowadays my 10-year-old will, dad, language. There wasn't any language warnings back then.
Nah, not
I
back
didn't
then.
tell my dad language.
That's right. That's right. He make you pay for it.
But those times were fun, man. And we learned a lot.
Yeah.
And, that group of guys that I was with, we're tight. We are super
Yeah.
tight.
Yes, sir.
So
Yeah.
I learned a lot. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Now, speaking of that, because you have the unique dynamic of being able to play for your father, and we can take this. I don't know if your dad coached you in Little League. That happens a lot more now than it did before. Yeah. And so I picture this scenario of a kid, son or daughter, at the plate, game on the line. It doesn't go well. That kid's biggest fear is not failing at the plate. The biggest fear is that car ride home. Because the car ride home, they already know that there's going to be an issue. And so this is going to kind of move into parental behavior, because I think when we start talking about college recruiting, a lot of it starts in the household. And it's some things that I don't know if they're so passionate about the game and they want their kid to do great. But I'm not sure if everybody understands the impact that they may have on the car ride home or on the way to the field. Have you experienced or ever heard anything about that, for these youth players?
Man, sure. No doubt. You got to be there for them. You got to be there for them. But I guess the one thing I guess I would say is I still think I'm kind of real with them. But I just, my kids, any kids I talk to, when I help coach 14U or 12U or 10U, I talk about what it means to put on a jersey, Eddie. And I'm not sure we always know that. And I don't care if you're playing upward basketball down on Ocean Drive, 8U soccer over here at Bill Witt Park. If you put on a jersey, well, you might get your tail whipped.
Right.
And that's, that doesn't sound like fun. Well, I don't really want my kid or my daughter to get their. Well, I'm just telling you, that's sports. You can get a big, medal, get a cool looking ribbon. That's fun. That's easy. Some days you might get your tail whipped.
Yeah. That's life. It's not even just sports. That's life.
You better learn how to handle that.
Yes. And especially in this game with it, as far this is known. 7 out of 10 times you fail, you're one of the greatest to ever play the game. No other sport that happens. Only baseball, softball. That's it. So it would seem to me that that's a good time to teach players how to deal with failure, because it's going to happen. And if you know how to deal with it, this is the only sport that you could be the number 1 draft pick. You're still going to the lowest level of professional baseball. You're not jumping straight to the big leagues. You have to be groomed and taught how to deal with failure, because it's going to happen. And so to me, that's a perfect way to develop kids early. It's like, listen, don't be too high or too low. This game is going to beat you up by itself. It doesn't need extra help. It's going to take care of you and beat you down as much as it wants to. As soon as you're on your high horse, it will humble you. That's just the game. If you can manage that, then you have a shot at really playing at a high level, because you can stay consistent, coming up. So now, is there any behavior your college, your assistants are recruiting players, you're at a showcase or you're at a tournament, or your assistant's at a tournament, can parents get their players crossed off the list?
crossed off's a little strong, but I got a ton of sheets that, minus arm, plus speed, plus power, swing and miss, minus mom, plus
Oh,
dad, yeah.
right.
I mean, I want to
Now,
know that stuff. And
what makes up minus mom or minus dad? What be, because we got to educate them that way everybody knows. Listen, now I know that these are the ways to get me highlighted in a way that I don't want to be highlighted. What kind of behavior or actions would kind of make you cringe a little bit and say, that might be a problem?
just listening to them talk,
Mm,
if it's always somebody else's fault, and
mm,
that's not going to work out. That's
mm-hmm.
because, again, there's too much failure. That's not
Yeah,
going to work out. If you and
yeah,
your son or daughter can't get in the car after the game and, hey, we didn't have good swings today, like, hey, that's
sure,
okay. Hey, we struck out 3 times today. That's
yeah.
okay. Being able to handle that, being able to just how you handle yourself, how you
How you
talk with
handle?
other people, what
Yeah,
kind of, sometimes I think mom and dad can tip off what kind of teammate I'm going to get. And
right.
that's a big part of it,
Yeah,
and
character.
we were talking to our guys today, Eddie. I'm working out
Hmm.
45 guys and I only have 40 spots. Working out
Hmm.
45 guys, only got 40 spots. And my one of my coaches made a comment, when it comes down to who's going to be 38, 39, and 40. And I thought this was a good comment. We're not looking for a 4-hole hitter, not looking for a cleanup hitter. You're not
Hmm.
going to be the 40th guy on the roster and be the cleanup hitter. It's not
Right,
happening. Not looking
right.
for a closer. What I'm
Hmm.
looking for in 38, 39, and 40, are you a high energy guy? Do you
Mm,
make your teammates better?
yeah,
Do you make practice better? Another
that's
one
right.
of my assistants, sometimes energy will cover up your mistakes. And, I heard
Yes,
that the
yeah,
first time, and then I heard it the second time. God, that guy's
yeah,
right, man. Sometimes
yeah,
energy, a little up, a little
yeah.
up will cover up
Yes,
your mistakes and your shortcomings, man.
that's
High
right. Bring
energy,
some
and
electricity to the field. Let's be exciting. And add that. That's an extra piece to the puzzle. It'll galvanize the team. And it makes the coach's job easier because now you don't have to do it. You let the players police themselves. It seems like that's somebody that's going to add to the puzzle. And once you get your foot in the door, anything can happen. Anything can go, and you get you some at bats, and before you know it, you find yourself gaining some confidence. I know that sometimes players may not feel that they're top level until they hear the right word from the right coach, and before you know it, yeah, maybe I am the man. Maybe I can do this. Especially for baseball. That's one of those sports that's a pure sport. Altuve at 5'4" can be the man. And then you got
yep.
Aaron Judge can also be the guy. So it doesn't really work like that for soccer and football. It's a little bit more physical, person on person. So that is a little tougher to make that transition. In that way. So
Talk about
yeah,
Altuve all the time at our camps. And
yeah,
yeah, baseball's the great equalizer. Short,
yes,
tall, whatever. We'll take them, man.
yes,
If you can play
sure.
baseball, you can find a spot.
That's right. That's right. Now let me ask you this: who you get an email, or your assistants get emails, players want to be recruited, which one stands out more, an email coming from a player or an email coming from mom and dad?
Don't care. I'm not picky. I think some
Okay,
coaches would tell you it needs to be the kid.
the kid.
I don't care. What I want to know is, honestly, I'm to me it's a resume you're sending out.
Yes.
What I really want to know on there is who's your either summer, fall, or high school coach.
Okay.
That's the biggest thing I'm looking for. That's the
Hmm.
biggest thing I'm looking for. So I can follow up.
Okay.
Hey, because that high school coach has been around that kid for 3 months, 4 months,
Yeah,
5 months, and
they'll tell you the real.
I
Hmm.
want to know how good is he. And listen, hey, I'll ask him every single time. Hey, how's the mom and dad? They good
Yes.
people or no?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
life's short. Life's short. There's a lot of good baseball players,
Yes.
and I don't need any that are going to cause me headaches. Not
There you
interested.
go.
I can find somebody else.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Now, what your thoughts on showcases? Because now we're starting to map our way toward college baseball, right? And so now, showcases, tournaments. I mean, are there some go tos that you're like, listen? be at these and wait till around this age group to go. You know, I don't need to see you at 14 at the showcase. You're running a 7.6 in the 60. That's not going to help me. But hey, junior year or sophomore year, yeah, now I want to see you there. And then at this tournament, you know, I know that the World Baseball Classic happens in I think October every year. Usually that's a big event, right? So what about that? Are there certain events that you say, hey, these are musts if you want to get a shot to get recruited at the next level?
I wouldn't say it that way.
Mhm.
Let me answer it a different way. And if I don't give the answer that you need, we'll
Yeah.
circle back.
Okay.
Whether I'm going to watch a game, going to watch a showcase, running one of my camps, I assume every kid that walks in is a good high school baseball player. That's the benefit you get. And you may say, well, coach, aren't there some kids that aren't great high school players? There are. But I just start the slate with, I bet all 70 kids are good high school players.
They're good. Yeah.
What are you going to do? What tool are you going to show me where you are better than these other 65 kids?
Right.
Is it
Right.
foot speed? Is it defensive skills? Is it a big arm? Is
Mhm.
it the hit tool, bat speed? Is it power? Is
Mhm.
it on the mound with velo on a fastball, spin on a breaking ball? And that's
Yeah.
it. Eddie, like
Separate
it's
yourself.
can be very simple. And
Yeah.
sometimes parents will, well, well, my son can catch, play a little first base, and he plays left field. You want us to do it all? Not really, because
Yeah.
we've already started out that I'm sure everybody's pretty good.
Sure.
What can you do to make me believe you're one of the 5 or best 10 kids
Best
at
ones
this
out here.
given event with
Right.
this skill? Well, my kid
Right.
doesn't really have any of those skills. Well, then there's your answer.
Right. There you
Like,
go. There you
you
go.
got to be able to do something
Yes.
that the other guy can't do.
Right.
You got to bring something to the table. And again, it's stick my chest out. It's
Mhm.
Division I baseball, Eddie. It's not for everybody.
Yeah. There you go. There
I
you
tell
go.
people all the time, Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, Islanders, it's a smaller level.
Mhm.
My bosses think, listen to this audacity, Eddie. My bosses think when we play the Longhorns and the Aggies and TCU, my bosses think we should win. Can you
Yeah.
imagine that?
Yeah.
Um,
It's baseball though. You
they
never
think
know.
well,
That's the
and
thing.
I'm being tongue in cheek, like, hey man, they think we're supposed to win. So
Yeah.
you need to understand when you come to my camp, to my workout,
Mhm.
if the player X can't help me beat the Longhorns or the
That's right.
Aggies, then you're the wrong guy.
That's right.
And I think that's eye-opening sometimes for parents. Like, well, coach, I'm in these little metal bleachers here at
Mhm.
Chapman Field, and you're talking to me about the Aggies. They
Mhm.
play in Bluebell Ballpark.
Yeah.
Well, hey, those are the people we're supposed to beat.
That's right.
So that's the talent level that I'm looking for.
That's right. And the thing about it, and I wish I would have had this mindset when I played earlier. I didn't think of it this way because I didn't pass the eye test. I'm from Baltimore. I couldn't go to the Maryland Terrapins, right? I wasn't the guy. I didn't hit a lot for power, and so I had to go to a smaller school, Coppin State. But we played against them, and the one thing is, once he threw the ball, it was mine. I don't care if we could play in the big stadium; it doesn't matter. Let go of the ball. I still have to hit. I still have to catch. And so, again, what separates baseball and softball from other sports, I don't have to rely on anybody else. The spot is a team sport, but the spotlight is on me. When the ball gets hit to me, everybody's looking at me. And nobody can do anything to stop me from executing, right? So I think I like that mindset of saying, no, you should expect to beat them. They're men just like you guys are. What's the difference? You know, it's not even playing against them. It's you against the game. They're just there.
Yeah.
But most of the time it's you against the game. And so don't big push your competition up so high to where you lose track of what the main focus is. So now a couple more questions on the high school side, just moving up because we got social media now, which you mentioned before. Big deal, especially I tell players and parents across the board, be careful with your posts because, like you said, it's a resume. And everybody at the job interview puts the shirt and tie on and lies as best they can. until you find out the other side. Let me go to social media and see what you're really about. And you know how it goes these days. 10 years from now, you win the World Series. Oh, okay. Let me pull up that post from 2010, where we're talking crazy, So
Yeah.
do you guys address that to your players too, as far as just watching how they handle themselves on the social media side?
Yeah, I think you talk. I mean, obviously, you talk about it and what you're
Mm-hmm.
putting out there, and I think to some degree the kids have it and they understand. I don't worry about like my college age kids too much. Again, I
Yeah.
probably should, but I think they
Mm-hmm.
got it. They understand, but like here we go again.
Mm-hmm.
I have a 14-year-old daughter and
Mm-hmm.
she's a 27 grad. She's a freshman in high school. It's probably time to get a Twitter. Like she didn't have Twitter yet.
Yeah.
It's time to get
Yeah.
Twitter. It's time to
About that
start.
time.
Why, I got a lot of highlight videos, Dad. Well, I know you
Mm-hmm.
do. Time to start putting some of them on your Twitter.
Yeah.
It amazes me now. Amazes me. Maybe it really surprises me if
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at a senior, junior, sophomore, high school coach says, "Man, you got to check out Bobby, coach. He's good."
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
I go type that into Twitter. It blows my mind if I find a kid that doesn't have one because
Mm-hmm.
it's such to some degree, an easy tool.
Yeah.
Man, we pull that up and boom, there it is.
Yeah. You
And
got
there's
everything
that
you need.
kid throwing a 90-mile-an-hour fastball and
There you go.
striking out 6 guys this summer. And there's the video, and now it's on.
There
And
you
now we're
go.
running down the recruiting row, and all
Yeah.
it took was me seeing 3 videos on that kid's Twitter, and man, I'm in. Let's go.
Yeah. Now, could you look at a kid? Could you look at a kid who goes 0 for 4 in a game or struggles on the mound, but see tools that you could use at the next level and still get him?
100%. Man, that's
Yeah.
a good one. Last weekend, I love it when we have like real, hey, this just happened.
Yeah.
Last weekend, my kids playing 14U, 26 grads, 27 grads, sophomores
Mm-hmm.
and freshmen. There's college coaches everywhere. Big time event.
Mm-hmm.
LSU is standing beside my wife with a stopwatch,
Mm-hmm.
and we're playing a game and my wife knows sports. Like, hey, I know a stopwatch. I know how it works, but like, hey,
Yeah.
what's this guy doing? Why does he have a stopwatch on every at bat? Like, I don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I was telling her and telling my daughter, to some degree, that guy doesn't care if you get a hit. That guy doesn't care if you hit a double. That guy doesn't care if you ground out to third base.
Right.
He is measuring your foot speed. He's trying to find out who's the fastest girl from home to first.
There you go.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think I got 3 hits that game. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm trying to find out who can run and who can't. To
That's
some
right.
degree, I can teach you to hit.
Yep.
I'm trying to figure out the measurables. Man, that girl can run, like
Yes.
so,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
like a lot of times, and I'll tell this, lots of times where I get the side eye in camp is
Mm-hmm.
I tell moms and dads, you know what I really want to see? I want to see your kid fail.
Yeah.
I want to see your kid go 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts.
Yep.
So I can see how she handles that.
See what she does.
Coach, why are you wishing that? Well, I want to know how she handles it.
Yes.
Because there's going to be a lot of failure. You already said that earlier, but
yes,
I need to know how they can handle that.
Yeah.
I wanted to see, Eddie, the other night when the center fielder for the Arizona Diamondbacks in center field of the World Series
made that
overran a ground ball like a 10-year-old.
Yep.
Like a 10-year-old.
Yep.
I didn't wish any ill will. I wanted to see him on TV. How's that guy going to handle
see
that?
how you handled it.
What's he going to look like in the dugout? Hey, he didn't lay down on the bench. He didn't put his head down.
Right.
He sat there in the front row and just took it like everybody else.
Oh man, this is gold. This is gold. We're bringing you guys right into the dugout and clubhouse of what coaches and the manager at the next level look for. And this is the thing. This is great news because it takes the pressure off you. You go to the tournament. I don't care if you go 0 for 4. Were they competitive at bats? Were you aggressive? Did you run hard on the pop up? Did you end up at second base? I want to know those things because you can repeat that. You can't control getting a hit because if you could, you get one every time. Nobody can control that,
100%.
So, no, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, moving into the college ranks, we're about to finish up here. A couple more for you. On the catching side, what are you looking for from your incoming catchers or just your guys that you put behind the plate? What do you look for?
Defenders, presence. How do they carry themselves at a 3-hour camp, at a 3-hour workout? putting that gear on, taking that gear off. It's 97 degrees outside. Does
Mhm.
this guy want to work? Does he want to bounce around? And it's so funny. Like, come on, Coach Malone, bounce around. Is that really a thing? Hey,
Yeah.
man, it is.
Yeah. That's
Um,
right. Yeah.
I want to, but I want to see defenders.
Okay.
Things that are hard to teach, man. Can you catch it and receive it? Can you
Yeah.
throw it to second base? Just your exchange. Like,
Yeah.
I want to see those things. Can you block it
Can
when
you
we throw it in the dirt?
now, with your history, what have you seen catchers struggle with the most, making the transition from high school to college? What is the main thing that you've seen catchers struggle with?
man, I would simplify it, and I'd probably going to say a dumb answer that just confidence. I got a freshman right now. I don't even
Mm.
know if he can tie his shoes. He may have to get some.
Mhm.
Hey, can one of you seniors tie my
Yeah.
shoes? Because and I was joking with him today. We were getting ready to do first and third defense, Eddie. So runner on first, runner on third, and we were going to
Mhm.
steal and steal and steal and stop halfway. And I just need my catchers and infielders to work and play catch. And I
Mhm.
walked by that freshman. Hey man, you nervous? Yes, sir, coach, I am. Hey
Mhm.
man, I was just kidding. Like,
Yeah.
come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Come
You didn't
on.
want that answer. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to get
Yeah.
past that part of it, man. This is the show. And
Yeah.
guys are going to make mistakes. Guys are
Mhm.
not going to make plays. And I need my guys to act like the New York Yankees. That is what
Right.
I need my guys to do.
There
That
you
is what
go.
I need your kid to do at the next camp. Act
Yes.
like he's trying out for the New York
Like he's the
Yankees.
guy. That's
Well, I
right.
mean, he's
Yep.
not that good and he's not ready. Well, then he doesn't need to
Fake
be in
it.
my place.
But
Yes.
even if you're not, fake it.
Yes.
Act like it,
Yes.
and you'd be
Yes.
surprised what you could do. Now, has the transfer portal changed a lot of things for you guys as far as how you go about recruiting? I've heard a lot of different things, especially since 2020 with the COVID stuff. Has that changed a lot on how you're able to just recruit ball players or search in different areas for ball players?
So I get this one at every single camp. I get this one like clockwork. I think the answer is very, very surprising to most people. 9 times out of 10, it helps me.
Mhm.
9 times out of 10, it helps me.
Yeah.
Transfer portal means the grass is always greener on the other side.
Mm.
That's what transfer portal means. Hey
Yeah.
man, look over there. Ooh, the grass is green over there. That's what
Yeah.
the transfer portal is.
The grass is greener where you water it, though.
Yeah, and
Right.
I'm not worried about my top 10 players, Eddie. I'm not
Yeah.
and it's not even the bottom 10. Sounds funny.
Mhm.
It's not the bottom 10.
Mhm.
It's those 20 in the middle.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
this is where it helps me. It's crazy to say this. This is where it helps me. Those 20 in the middle that are on big scholarships for us, 70%, 60%, 45%, 35%. When those kids don't play a lot, they don't
Yeah.
want to stay and work. They
Right.
don't want to stay and earn it. We have
Mhm.
tough conversations as coaches. Hey, this kid's on 60%. He's been here 1 year. He's not a superstar yet. Maybe we should cut him. Well, of
Mhm.
course, I'm the head coach who has to make the cuts. It's easy to
Yeah.
talk about him. When you're the
Yes.
one who's got to talk
Gotta do
and
it.
cut him, yeah.
Yeah.
So I always end
Mhm.
up talking him out of it. No, no, no. We got to give this guy another year. That we can coach him up. We can make him better. Well,
Yeah.
that kid now, because of the portal, he comes into my
Good.
office, and before I can even tell him
He's telling
that
you.
we're going to keep him, coach, you know what? I think I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
wait a minute, man. You're on 60% of a scholarship. Like, we're giving you $12,000 cash to pay for your college. Yeah,
Yeah.
coach. I talked to my mom and dad. You can keep it. We're going to go somewhere else.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay. And it's the transfer portal is kind of like a garage sale.
Mhm.
Eddie, like I say to you, like, you ever seen somebody in your neighborhood having a garage sale? Yeah,
Mhm.
sure. When you drive by, you ever kind of look over and but you don't
Mhm.
always stop. You don't.
Right. Right.
And the
Right. Right.
reason you don't always stop, well, that's just somebody else's stuff they're getting rid of.
Yep.
Like, I
Right.
don't really
Right.
need that stuff.
Right.
Like,
Right.
and that's what the transfer portal is 9 times out of 10. Well, that's just
Mhm.
somebody else's stuff they're getting rid of, Eddie. I
Yeah.
don't need that stuff. I can find my own stuff.
There you go. Yep.
So
No, you're right.
to
You're
be
right.
honest
You're
with
right.
you, in the last 3 years, it's probably helped me more than it's hurt me
Okay.
because some marginal guys on good
Mhm.
scholarships have opted to leave and go try it somewhere else.
And
Okay,
free up
sure.
some
And they
capital
free
for
up
you to.
money.
There you
Yeah,
go. There you go. Now,
yeah.
rules. I know it's different from when Division One schools are allowed to speak with players and parents. And how does that dynamic work as far as on the recruiting side? Is I guess just a basic schedule. We don't have to go too far into it, but parents or kids know, hey, I can expect to speak to coaches between these months, but the dead period is XYZ. What does that look like for Division One?
The first talk to is summer of junior year, towards the end of
Mm-hmm.
the summer of junior year. That's when things heat up and get real and start talking and start taking offers. And
Mm-hmm.
used to be there's a kid in town that's a younger kid that's already committed to school. You can't do that anymore. They've
Okay.
closed the door on that. You can't do
Okay.
that anymore. You can only commit to a school and receive an offer during that summer of your junior year and then moving
Yep.
forward. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's helped some.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think recruiting's like anything. It's about relationships. And
Yes.
I got to get to know all the coaches in town. I got to get to know the travel ball coaches in town.
Mm-hmm.
And coach, man, I got a guy, he's a sophomore. You don't know
Yeah.
him yet, but hey, man, I need his name. I need to put
Yeah.
him on the board. I need to make sure we get out and see him play, So,
You know who I heard were the best scouts? Umpires.
yeah, yeah.
They know every single player front to back. They've seen them all. That may be another avenue to say, you know what? Let me talk to these umpires. They'll give me the real. They'll
Very
give me
true.
the real
Very
deal.
true.
So
Very
I've heard
true.
that for sure. And
Um,
is it better to get your attention? I'm a ball player coming up. Is it better for me to send you emails, or should I speak to your assistants who kind of take the load off you because you're too busy? You got a lot of things going on. I mean, how does that work?
I might be different. I'm the office nerd
You're in
on
there.
my staff. I'm the nerd.
Yeah.
So I'm the one making sure all the emails get answered, that they
Okay.
get filed this way or saved this way.
Yeah.
I'm kind of the office nerd. Not that other guys on my staff aren't, but I'm the guy
Mhm.
you want to send them to. I'm the nerd who goes through
You're the
everything,
guy.
man. So
Yeah.
yeah,
There you go.
I'm into the office side. My guys are the junkyard dogs at practice that are out there barking and screaming and, hey man, do it this way. And
Hmm.
lots of times I end up being the CEO. I'm the
Yeah.
CEO, man. I'm just the president of operations, making sure the
Hmm.
lights are on. We got enough uniforms. We got enough game balls. I'm
Ready to get
hanging a
after it.
starting lineup, and I'm a cheerleader, man. I'm
There
a
you go.
cheerleader. My
There
assistant
you go.
coaches they're lifting the heavyweight.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
And then typically at your level, how many catches are you keeping? You're good.
four.
You got to get ready for the spring. Is it the three catchers, two,
Most D1s always got four in the fall. Always
four?
got four in the fall,
Hmm.
and then you probably drop down to three in the spring. Keep
Okay.
one as a development guy, but I would tell you that's more often than not. You would try to be four in the fall and three in the spring when you can.
Yeah. And most playing as true freshmen, or do you usually get a red shirt year and then be prepared to maybe come in and get some playing time your sophomore year, unless you're a guy. I mean, if you're a stud, we get it, but 90% of us aren't. So it's like, okay, well, my expectations are to come in, work hard, learn the program, take my time, and then work my way into the starting lineup. Is that normally how it goes?
Kind of depends on obviously the kid, the player, how
Sure.
advanced he is. Our frontline guy right now is a junior.
Hmm.
I would tell you without looking at it, I bet he started a fourth of our games as a freshman. So,
Okay.
15,
Okay.
15 starts out of 55,
Yeah.
and got some playing
Got some
time.
work in. Yeah.
And, yeah, then last year won the job and,
Hmm.
was probably on pace to probably be a platoon guy in year two and ended up
Hmm.
really outplaying the older guy. And he
There you
took
go.
it over and started playing a lot. We have a
Yeah.
freshman right now that doesn't really project to be,
Mhm.
a high impact guy. Doesn't mean he's not a good player. Doesn't mean I
Sure.
don't like him.
Yeah.
But yeah, where are we? It's November 1st, 2nd. If
Yeah.
you ask me what's this kid look like in February or March,
That
I
might be
would tell you
different.
he's a year away. He's
Yeah,
probably
I
a year
got you.
away. So,
Gotcha. Gotcha.
but it's
Gotcha.
different every year. It's different every year.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
good deal. Well, hey, I appreciate your time. I think we've gone through, man, so much information. And I know these, and I'm hoping we're not missing any questions that parents would ask. I mean, we'll get that figured out once we get some feedback from everybody. But man, is there any special messages that you want to send out to anybody aspiring to play at the next level? And this is for any ball player or just parents who just need to get their kid in the best position, like you're doing with your kids. Just trying to, paint a road for them, like you said, the conveyor belt, just getting them on that conveyor belt to where they have the best opportunity to either pass or fail. That's on them, but your job is to get them to the race. That's the main thing. You have any messages for anybody?
I tell my kids at our high school camps, like, it's okay to win. It's okay to win. It's okay to get off your own back a little bit. Like,
yeah,
we'll have one of these workouts. We have our next ones on maybe the 14th, 18th, whatever that Saturday is in November, 18th maybe. And I'll ask those guys when we get done. There'll be 80 kids, 100 kids standing there. How many guys at your high school today? Because we'll check them in at 8:00 in the morning, start working them out at 9:00 in the morning. We'll go till 2 in the afternoon. Hey, how many kids at your high school? Go ahead and raise your hand up. Let me know how many kids at your high school outworked you today. You just put in a 5-hour work day. How many kids busted it today and outworked you? And I mean, they're all like, whoa, probably none. What about that big school in your district, man? Ooh, those guys are good. They got good players. How many of those guys you think outworked you today on Saturday, November 18th? How many of those guys outworked you? Maybe none. You're right, man. You won today. When you pack your bag up and start walking out to your car, hey, man, it's okay to win, man. You won today. Well, I mean, the scoreboard wasn't on. I mean, it wasn't a scrimmage. We didn't win. No. You just worked your tail off and won.
That's right.
It's okay to go to the gym on a Monday and go kill it for an hour, 90 minutes, and walk out of there and go, hey, man, I won today.
I won.
I just whipped that gym's tail today.
That's right.
You got to be able to find those. You got to be able to find those victories. That's what keeps those guys going. And I tell them, it's okay to tell mom or dad, thank you. Hey, thanks for taking me to camp. Thanks for driving me 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours down the road. Hey, thank you. Thank you.
That's big
if you
time.
just told mom or dad thank you, they probably melt right there in the car seat.
My goodness. Yeah. So. That's awesome. Now that's a great word, man. I appreciate you, spending time with us on this, and it's going to help a lot of people. And man, it's just a good thing, to spread this word. And we're a new channel, but we're going to push this out, and it's going to grow, and it's definitely gonna make an impact. So I appreciate your time, Coach. And maybe one day we'll do it again at a later date, and we'll definitely be keeping an eye on you guys over there. It's good luck with the season coming up this year. Okay.
Well, I appreciate it, man. And if we get some feedback and Q&A, we'll come back and try to answer some questions one time. And this is how I'll leave it with you. I tell everybody this. Hey, man, come February or March, you're going to be watching Longhorn Network, and you're going to say, there's that Malone guy.
There he is.
That might be 20-0, but I know that, so no,
that's right.
That's what makes it fun, man.
But we expect them to win. That's right. We're going to compete. That's right. So, all right. Well, thanks for joining the FCO show presented by Catch Tech USA. And until next time, everybody have a good night.